maybe we service people in the same way.
Maybe we can avoid something.
Yeah, well, maybe
do things differently. Maybe there's just a different way you like things done.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it's just because maybe we do things the same way. And it's just not a good fit. And maybe it's the same thing with us. And so we can say, hey, you know what, we actually do it this way too. It may not be a good fit because you didn't like that before. So why are we going to do the same thing? And
we actually have advisors for other companies that we trust that we'll send people to. If somebody's not a good fit, I'm not scared to say that. And that's okay. And we know somebody that will take great care of you and be a good fit because first of all, we only have so many hours in the day. There's 2 of us. And we're not for everybody, and that's okay. And I think that's another mistake that advisors make sometimes is that they're so scared to let an account go.
Yeah.
That they just try to take whatever they can because, they're trying to get those accounts and those numbers that they end up with a bunch of bad fits.
In the case of nuclear or radiological...
Turn off the TV, turn off the news.
You are now dialed in to the Noise Reduction Podcast.
Often imitated.
Never duplicate.
Never duplicate.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, hello, and welcome to episode 33 of Noise Reduction, where we want to help filter through what is just noise in the financial world and what is actually useful. I am Nelson Negron of Provident Oak Financial here we're recording in Lamarck, Texas, but our office is over in the Clear Lake area.
Yes.
And I am here, as always, and live and in person. Well, I guess you won't be seeing it live, but I'm seeing it live. Does that work?
He's very enthusiastic today. He's had a lot of Bang energy drink.
Yeah,
are we allowed to say that?
I guess we are now. You already said it. So it's not like they're a sponsor or anything. Maybe they should. That would be great,
I just didn't want people to think we were drinking the unhealthy ones.
The unhealthy caffeine.
Don't mention those ones.
Don't mention those?
No.
Okay, they're not mentioned. They're unmentionables.
This is going.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
there
thanks,
we go.
Kurt. So as you can see, this is our first time on video. So now you can see that we are real people.
Yes.
And we're not Martians.
No. Do you know how many times people walk up to me and ask me, they meet me, they're like, oh my gosh, you're a real person. I hear that seriously like 10 times a month. I'm a real person off of social media.
10?
I really exist.
Did you count? Do you have like a little...
I've been because
you have like a little ticker like at the, or whatever it's called, that they, when they're letting people into places and they click.
Maybe I should try that. keep tabs. But yes, we're real people.
We are real people.
We are.
With real faces.
We are.
Right here.
And we're here together.
So who are you?
Oh.
We haven't introduced you yet to those that maybe knew. They're seeing you for the first time.
I'm sorry. Now you're going to see all my faces. This could be bad. But anyways, so my name is Rhiannon Negron, and I am the CEO of Provident Oak Financial and his other half.
She's the big boss lady. The top.
All 5'3.5" of me.
She's the top dog.
Oh, so
the head honcho.
No, we're not going down this road. We're not.
I was done anyway,
Good.
So I didn't really have any other boss nicknames.
He's just sucking up because it's National Spouses Day.
Well, I do have the best spouse ever.
Here we go.
And so the day was created for you. And so the nation is celebrating you.
So now that we've lost all 10 of our listeners that are like,
Right.
Stop it. We should probably get back on target.
Get on target?
Yeah.
Almost there.
Episode 33.
I said you have the Noise Reduction Podcast.
So
I am your host. Remember the guy, remember Movie Phone? Kurt, do you remember Movie Phone?
No.
We used to be able to call to check. You had to call to check the movie listings. No? Wow.
So I grew up.
We had the TV channel guide, that printed, but not that.
Yeah, it was called Movie Phone, and if you wanted to know when there was a movie, you would call the number and you're like, hello and welcome to Movie Phone. Dial 1 for what anyways. So you would select your theater, and then you would select the movie you're looking for, and it'd say, Constantine playing at AMC 30.
Is that the voice?
It was like that. No, okay. All right.
But you also came from a town where you had a movie theater. I didn't have a movie theater in my town that operated. Maybe it was like 6 months after the movies came out, but it was never like opening weekend. So you got one choice, and it was 6 months after everyone else had already seen it.
And that was me. I grew up in a small hour to get to the theater. And you were lucky if anything new was even remotely still new when you saw it. And you were just excited to go. Like, I didn't care what was playing.
Nelson and his privileges growing up.
Seriously.
Yes.
Just have to rub it in our face.
I'm gonna-
even your movie phone.
I was going to make a comment. I'm just going to.
No, you're not. So we should probably talk about the actual financial topic that we're
Well,
supposed to
yeah,
be
you know, and I
discussing
had
today.
a hard time coming up with a title for this. I was trying to think of the best way to, like, I know I put something here and as you know, notes and, how should advisors give advice, type of thing. I almost thought of calling it like on the same theme of, along the same lines of movies, interview with an advisor instead of interview with the vampire. No, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt.
Okay.
No.
So back to your privileged movie phone. You're really excluding a lot of us that weren't in your situation. So maybe we should.
Are you saying you've never seen Interview with the Vampire?
I don't think so. Wow. When did it come out?
Oh, I don't know. I would have to Google. Probably like 98-ish,
Yeah, no.
maybe. Something like that. Somewhere around there. No? Okay. Kurt, have you seen Interview with the Vampire?
No.
See?
What
Again,
in the world?
we didn't have
This is
that.
just going way off the rails, like right off the bat. This is not even... Okay, you know what? Cut. Time out. Halftime.
No.
No? Okay. All right. So, all right. Well,
They're here for actual advice, not about-
Okay. We will nix the interview with an advisor because you've never even seen Interview with the Vampire. Golly.
I don't even know what was it about.
Let me guess. He gets interviewed and he's,
The vampire gets
vampire.
interviewed. Actually,
Seriously?
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt both play a vampire, and they're trying to live like in secret as as vampires.
Where does the interview come in?
Well, Brad Pitt is the one being interviewed, and he's telling their story of their life as vampires.
And you watched this for over 2 hours.
No, it wasn't that long. It was, well, I don't remember exactly how long ago. I mean, it's been 20 plus years since I've seen it, but it was a normal
Was it
movie.
good
length.
for its time?
Yeah, for its time.
Well, I mean,
yeah, you act like I, was watching movies with like Carl, or wait, what's his name?
this is your story, and I don't know.
The Marx
Marx.
Brothers or something,
I don't know.
or no.
There's somebody listening right now that's screaming and be like, I've seen this movie.
Yes.
They're talking about this.
If you've seen the movie, please let us know. And let them know like what they're missing out on. This was like back when movies were good.
Probably 2 hours of our life we'd never get back. But
No,
anyway.
come
Movies
on.
back then were only 45 minutes. Come on, let's be fair.
Yeah. I used to have to drive longer than it took to watch the movie to
Yes,
get to the
but
theater.
you never got out of the car because you were going to a drive-in.
No. we had the actual.
You had to put the little radio on or the little speaker on the side of the window, and
They still have those.
yes, I know. Okay, so I guess we actually need to talk about what advice, or sorry, how a financial advisor should be giving advice, right? That's what we actually planned on talking about today. None of this other stuff, which I still can't believe you haven't seen the movie. But anyways, well, I digress. We will move on.
So a better topic or title probably would have been financial advice versus product sales. Kind of sums it all up.
Yeah, well, and the reason why I wanted to, talk about when I put this together, I was like fired up. I was like, we got to talk about this
I've noticed you're very enthusiastic today.
because, yes,
It's okay. You have a passion for what you do. I appreciate it.
I will just.
So you're very fired up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, last time we talked about the value of advice and why it's valuable to get advice and how it's okay to get advice,
Yeah.
and to get help with different things. We talked about marriage advice and we talked about, advice to raising kids and exercise and whatever else,
It's
right?
okay not to know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are experts out there that can help you. So, I thought it was a great idea, considering the conversation that we had recently with someone, to really talk about how the advice should be given to you, or maybe when you are actually working with someone or getting advice from someone, what kind of questions should you be asking them, first of all, and what kind of information and in what way should you be getting that information back? And the reason this kind of came up for me was recently we had the opportunity to meet with a lady. She's older, so she's retired, and she's a widow, and she had contacted us because her current advisor, who's at a well-known firm, we won't mention names.
Behave.
Behave. I won't mention any names. But so her concern was that she's retired. She's a widow. Her only income is Social Security plus the money that she had received from her the life insurance policy that her husband had. And she received those funds as a payout from the life insurance. Mm-hmm. And so she was worried that she was going to run out of money before she died.
Which is a common concern in retirement.
Right, exactly. And so her money was invested in the market. And as we know, 2022 across the board, in general, was a bad year for investments.
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, it was, a lot of people... we're worried and rightfully so. And we can talk about that she had lost some money in the market. And so she was really getting worried. So she had contacted us and wanted to know kind of what we thought, if she was going to run out of money or whatever. And the problem is her current advisor, for every concern that she gave him, his answer was life insurance. I'm afraid I'm going to run out of money. Finding he had a square peg, and he was trying to find that round hole to to make it fit, even though it wasn't going to fit in that round hole. And
life insurance has its place.
It does,
but it is not the answer for everything.
Right, and we've talked about life insurance in the past, and he's pushing that hard for it. There's only one reason behind that.
Right. Well, there could be a couple reasons behind it, but none of them are good. So.
Yeah. So yes, Kurt.
I had a quick question, and it had to do with kind of in the state of the market that we're currently in, with the projections of, you just don't know where the market is kind of heading in the next couple of months. And it's been talked about, hey, we're in a recession, et cetera, and we can define all of that. But now is the most important time to be talking to a financial advisor. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, were you going to?
I was going to say, absolutely. So, people, they're scared. They're uncertain right now. They're not sure. Some people, they've not seen this in their lifetime. We're getting actually a lot of younger clients come in our door because they just aren't sure what to do with this market. And you've got people that are going to social media to try to get financial advice. And then you've got people that are freaking out and pulling all their money. They're just from one extreme to the other. But what's important is if you get with a professional, they have a ton of data. This isn't something new for them. If they do their job properly, they have a ton of data over a very long period of time. And we can take that data and we can go off of what we know to be true in order to advise you. So that information, you're going to need to talk with a professional.
Yeah, and just to add to that is I think any time is a good time, or
it is,
or an important time. There's what is that the saying? There's no time like the present. Multiple sources to gather enough data, because we don't want to speculate on what's going to happen and where things are going, or just go off of what the talking heads on the news are saying. There's actually, a lot of people don't know this, but pretty much all of the financial news channels, their producers are former sports broadcast producers. Mm-hmm. So, like your, favorite 4-letter network, sports network, they come from that world. And so what do? If you watch anything on that network, you're going to see one side saying one thing and one side saying the other thing. And so when you're watching, your favorite financial news channel, you're going to see the same thing. You're going to have one person saying that we're in a recession. No, we're just right on the verge of another bull market. And The economy is cratering, but the economy is doing well, all in the same 30 seconds. And, so it's no wonder that people are confused, and they don't know what to do about it. So, yeah, talking to someone that can filter through all the noise, like we say, to filter through what is just noise and what is actually useful is very important.
Yeah, what it's doing is just leaving people in a panic, and they don't even know really why they're panicked because they've heard both extremes, and they're freaking out, and the only way they know how to deal with it is basically typically to go to social media or whatever instead of a professional or our friends. What are you doing? My friend told me to invest in this and that. That's wonderful. Your friend can be the nicest person in the world, but are they necessarily the one with the expertise that should be giving you that advice? Maybe they lucked out. That's great. But you really need to make sure that. And the other thing I'm seeing a lot on social media, and it's so important, is please, 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 please search the credentials of who you're trusting. A very popular thing that has, because the market and the way it is, that has come out is financial coaching. I'm seeing it across the board. Financial coaches. Don't get me wrong, that's part of what we do. But it is a part of what we do along with licensing. A lot of these financial coaches are not licensed in anything. And if they are licensed in something, it's to sell insurance. So you have people going for financial advice that are getting sold insurance by somebody that's not licensed for the other things.
How does that work with life insurance? I thought life insurance was only paid after you pass. Like
paid to who?
To you. Like if you were...
Oh, no. As a financial advisor, life insurance, there are different types of life insurance products. Okay, so in general, though, a financial advisor is paid a commission for selling life insurance.
But that doesn't benefit you. That benefits your family after you.
Yeah, so life insurance is not for the person that is buying the insurance or that is being insured. Okay, so the insurance policy is covering the person being insured. It doesn't benefit that person, right? It benefits whoever the beneficiaries are of that policy. So
that's what I was really confused about earlier when you were talking about the lady who was like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to get through the remainder of my life. It doesn't benefit her that way because it's not going to give her cash later on in life. It's going to give her cash to her family after she goes.
Primarily, yes. In general, yes. Now, there are insurance products that allow you to draw from them.
Yes.
But there's penalties.
There's whole other issues that go along with that, and we won't get into detail on that. But yes,
we could do like a 2-hour show.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go.
He's like, let's just keep going.
Yeah, when you start talking about whole life and universal variable life and all that stuff, okay, there are insurance products that do allow for you to pull from them, and there are reasons to do that, and people can use certain insurance products in retirement, and but in general, it's not going to be a complete answer for most people,
especially in a situation where somebody is now already in retirement. They're struggling with the funds they have left, and now you're saying, well, buy this life insurance policy, because typically those people that can pull from those funds, they've started this life insurance policy a long time ago, and so they've already built up enough.
Yeah, there's been enough cash accumulated within the policy in order to draw from it. But yeah, I mean, there's the world of life insurance is pretty broad, and
it's crazy.
And there is a lot of nuance in it. And as much as I hate to use the word nuance, I know
you said that.
I know it came out of my mouth. I use the word nuance, and I typically say that the word nuance is a big word that dumb people say to sound smart. So I guess I just tried to make myself sound smart. And but yeah, there's a lot of detail with life insurance, but especially when you have someone who. Okay, let's go back to that situation, right? Okay, and I'm the advisor, and even if I believed 100% that the life insurance policy was the answer, but the person on the other side of the desk, okay, the lady in this instance, didn't agree. She obviously didn't agree, or she wouldn't have come to us asking our thoughts and opinions on it, right?
Well, and she's coming to you freaking out. Literally, she's stressed out. She's in a situation where she's worried that she doesn't have enough money to make it, and you're trying to sell her something.
Right. So one of two things have happened. Either one, that's not the answer, and you've given a solution that's not the answer to the problem. Mm-hmm. Okay, so because she's still concerned. Or two, you haven't done a well enough job of explaining the answer.
Why is it the answer?
Why is it the answer? How is it that is going to solve the problem that she has come to you for, that, you know, she's still worried, she's still concerned, even though you gave her the answer. So either it's not the answer, or you haven't done your job and you haven't explained it properly.
At the end of the day, you're just trying to take away the panic. Your job is literally for them to be at a point where they are comfortable with the decisions being made for their financial future and
Right.
security.
Right. So, you know, and if it is that second problem that, you know, that advisor did not do a well enough job of explaining why life insurance was the answer, then, you know, further conversation and further education on the life insurance should have been done, to where, you know, she's comfortable. That's something that we tell our clients all the time is we want you to be comfortable and confident in the solutions we're providing. So we're going to educate you on what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what it's supposed to do for you
Ahead of time.
Yeah. So that way you don't have these instances, you don't have these problems, you don't have these questions or concerns after the fact, because we've already done all of that ahead of time.
Yeah, I can't even count how many times, I guess I need that clicker again. We've been asked, have your clients been calling you freaking out? Are they in panic? Are you getting calls? I mean, I can't imagine it's going to be so crazy for you right now. Well, the reality of it is I can count on one hand how many calls we've gotten with somebody needing to be back from a ledge in 2 years, because we've had these conversations. They knew this was coming. We've planned for this. We prepared for this. They know this is a long-term game. And so, you know, with a few short phone calls within 5 minutes, even those, they're like, okay, I just needed you to reassure me and remind me of what we've talked about. That's the proper way to do things. It's not when the world is on.
Kurt, like you asked earlier about 2022 in the market and what to do, or is this the right time to talk to an advisor, or the best time, or whatever, is that, you know, what we try to do for our clients is be proactive and say, we're not waiting for them to call us worried. We're reaching out to them and say, hey, are you worried? After I'm confident in the plan, I'm confident in what you have put in place for us. So I'm not worried. I understand that this is just a blip on the radar. It's just a temporary thing that will get past. And so we've been able to do that, you know, over the years, to where our clients, you know, they understand what's going on. And even though we know that they know, even though we know they understand, we're still reaching out saying, hey, you know, just wanted to check in, see if you had any concerns, any questions, with everything that's going on. You know, if you're seeing anything on TV that that worries you or whatever,
Turn it off.
well, well, that too, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Yeah. And you know, in all actuality, you know, I hate to say it, but it's I say it, you know, I think it's an epidemic in our in our industry, that when times get tough, advisors like to hide under their desk and hide from their clients, because they don't want to have those tough conversations, and they don't want to deal with that. And then they'll come back when things are good again and say, oh, look how good we're doing, everything's rosy, it's all rainbows and unicorns, and everything's great now, instead of, hey, I'm here when things are not great. I'm here for you even when things are bad. And I'm here to help you through those, and that's important, regardless of what solutions you're offering. So.
And if you're an advisor, like, we're not doing anything crazy. Like, use our advice. Like, we're not trying to hide anything. We recommend it. I know some advisors will be offended by this. They're going to be. We're going to probably get emails, but
I'm okay with that.
Direct them towards him, please.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just treat them as a person. Not a value, not a bank account amount, not their person. And you need to remember at the end of the day that they're human and they have real concerns and real fears and real emotions. And if you can proactively, get ahead of it before it gets bad, because it's going to. We know the stock market goes up and down. It's going to forever. That's just what it does. So why not be proactive and just get ahead of it? And so they're not so scared, and they're not at that point where they're not hearing you when the time does come.
Yep,
so just
exactly.
treat them like a person.
Yeah. So what questions should you hear from an advisor? Okay, let's say it's someone who is sitting down for the first time with someone. Okay, back to Kurt's question earlier. Now is the best time to talk to an advisor. Okay, so I decided to go do it. I decided, hey, I need help. I'm going to go get help.
The first question I'm asking is, what flavor of Bang are you drinking?
So I'm drinking.
We're going to get sponsored by Bang.
Yeah, we were gonna
Miami
try.
Cola, because we were talking about this earlier, and it tastes like flat Coca-Cola.
Sounds really delicious, doesn't it?
I happen to like flat Coca. Well, okay, so we were sitting there, and I was trying to decide between
Gross.
this. Okay.
I want to add some bubbles to it for you.
This episode is sponsored by.
Yeah.
Wait, not really.
Not really, but
Hold
they
on.
should. They can. Reach out to Kurt. He'll
It was,
let you know how to
it
get
was
hold of
either
us.
Miami Cola or peach mango. Okay, so
Yuck.
those were the. Yes, I know you don't.
Mango
like
tastes like dish soap. Childhood trauma.
so I was trying to decide between the two, and I hadn't had the Miami Cola in a long time, and I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's change it up. We're on video today. We got shirts.
We do.
We have shirts.
We do.
They're not for sale. So,
Oh, I was going to say order them on the website.
but wait, there's more.
No, this isn't an infomercial. Keep
but-
going.
Yes, see, we're often imitated, never duplicated.
Yes. No. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
They're our intro.
So I figured, hey, we're changing it up by getting on camera and allowing our listeners to see our wonderful faces and the many faces of Ree.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll just
And
apologize
her-
ahead of time. My friends literally have
Her dances.
There's a folder that they've been keeping over the years called the Many Faces of Ree, and apparently at some point there's going to be a slideshow. They really are doing this to me.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, we will. And then birthdays, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Gets better.
But anyway, so yeah, I decided to change it up and
Okay,
go
well,
with Miami.
I have
Cola.
the cherry limeade. It's like the Sonic limeade. It's delicious, but
So the
Mine-
second question after you find out what flavor of
Yes.
Bang.
Yes.
Second question.
Okay. Oh, did you have a second question?
Oh no!
Oh, you're just
I
setting
did
it-
the
you-
first question. You have to do the second question. I
gotcha.
I was transitioning.
Yeah.
It was a segment
it was,
transition.
Yeah, we were doing a segue.
Oh.
Oh,
so
you like that? You like-
Sponsored by Segway.
So
Okay,
I
not
will
really.
tell you that the first question and a red flag for me should not be your assets. What are your numbers? Like, how much do you have?
Yeah.
What-
How big is your account?
How big is your accounts? How
much money do you have?
Sadly, that really is a big thing. There's some advisors that choose not to take clients under certain amounts, and that's how they do business, and that's fine.
I've dealt with that with insurance companies.
Oh yeah.
When we were looking at insurance companies for Clear Life Media, how many assets, or what is your monthly income? Because they're like, oh, we don't take clients in that range. We only take these clients. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll take my money elsewhere.
Exactly.
Right.
And, there's people that do business that way, and I guess that works for them. But if you are looking for somebody that is really out for you, that's looking at your best interest, should that really be the first question that they're wanting to know? Because at the end of the day, if that's their concern, they're probably thinking more about what they're making off of this client. I mean, why else would you need to know immediately? First thing.
Yeah, and it's tough because I came from that world.
Yeah.
I worked for the larger firms that have those minimums, and and I was told, at one point I was told, well, if your client doesn't have X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest,
Yeah.
you're not going to get paid by us to work with that client, and so. So basically I'd be working for free,
Right.
now the company is going to get their money,
Right.
They're still going to charge the client and the company is going to get paid. I just wouldn't get paid.
Right.
And so that really puts the advisor in a bad place, because now they're having to decide, do I even, since I'm not getting paid to work with this person,
Right.
is it worth my time to even do anything for this person at all? And again, it goes back to how can a financial advisor in that situation look out for the best interest of the client if they're not getting paid to even, spend 2 minutes talking to
And
them?
that's the thing. It doesn't even mean they're necessarily a bad person, and that's not what I'm saying. But in
Right,
that
right, right.
situation, those advisors, and you've been there, we've been through all that with some major firms. And I mean, they have to decide at the end of the day, they only have X amount of hours. If they're working for free and all these hours, at the end of the day, what hours are they going to use to pay for their family, to feed their family? They still have to pay their bills. And so they have to make the decisions of either not working with clients below that certain amount and being that person's like, oh, we can't work with you. Or do they basically do charity work and let the big company make money off of it? So.
Right. And that kind of goes on to another question that if you're sitting down with an advisor that you should ask, and it's flat out asking the advisor, how do they get paid?
Yeah. People are always scared to ask us that.
Yeah.
It's usually the very last, and usually we have to tell them. We're like, well, you haven't asked this question yet, so we're gonna
tell you how we make
how
money.
we get paid.
Because it's all about transparency, putting it out on the table. That's how the relationship should be. If you're hiring us to do a job, and you're hiring us to give you advice and manage your life savings or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
you probably should know what you're paying for and how that person is getting paid to do work for you. That's a pretty important question. And then,
what are my fees?
Yeah,
Fees should be very transparent.
Right.
You'd be amazed how many hidden fees there can be, and you're looking at your statements going, what is this? What's that? They should not be afraid to answer those questions.
Right,
They
right.
should be very upfront, and this is what we'll charge. This is why. They should not
where
shy away from.
where are the fees coming from?
Right.
What are internal product fees or what's called platform fees and advisory fees?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's all these fees out there. Know what you're paying and why you're paying them.
Yeah, there's many people that come into our office. They're like, oh, well, they're only charging me X%. But then when we actually break it down, we're like, well, do you realize you're paying this, 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 and this? They don't even realize they're paying these fees. They think they're just paying this percentage and don't realize all the added fees. They had no idea. You should know what you're paying.
Right, exactly. Right, so what else?
What is your service model?
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to take care of me?
Yeah.
What should I expect as service? Is it, okay, now that you have my account, you're going to call me once a year?
Yeah.
Or are we going to have frequent check-in calls? Are we going to meet how many times a year? What types of communication am I going to get? All those things. Those are, that's all part of the service that you're paying for. How are they going to take care of it? And if it's not what you're comfortable with, let them know. Say, no, I need this amount of communication. I need this. I need that.
And it's different for everybody.
Right.
We have clients that they like to call us like every week and mostly like to chat and tell us about what's going on with their life. And then we have some that are like, I'm still busy working. I'll talk to you maybe quarterly or whatever, and that's fine. It just depends on the person, and we just, I guess we customize it to each person. So within the scope of the regulations, we do that.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Yes, I should add that in there so we don't get in trouble.
But no, I mean, again, it's a service you're paying for. You're paying somebody to take care of you.
Right.
Demand good service.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to demand good service. So.
Exactly.
So what kind of questions do you think the advisor should be asking the potential client?
Well, I kind of know this because we do this all
Well,
the time.
okay. Well, I put some ideas on the
I already
on the
know what it
notes.
is. I can tell you. So when we sit down with our clients, it'll be easier to do it this way. We have at least an hour. We always schedule 2 hours. And
It usually goes 2 hours.
at least. Depends on the client and how much we're talking. We talk about all sorts of stuff. Sometimes it's about coffee makers. You'd be amazed. But we just sit them down and get to know them. We want to know their story. Who are you? What got you to this point? Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have grandkids? Are you retired? Tell us your story. And half the time they come in with this file like this big of all their assets, and they think that's what we're after. And we say, that's great, and we appreciate you, but we push it aside, and we're like, we want to know you. Because it doesn't matter really what's in that file at the end of the day if we can't get along, if it's not a good fit, if it's not a good relationship, if we can bring value to you. And so it just should be, let's get to know each other conversation, not hard sells, not numbers, not, you should feel comfortable like you're valued in that meeting. You should feel like you're a person. not an amount. At the end of the day, you need to trust us. You need to know that when, obviously we have, regardless of how much money you have, it's important to you. It's your money. So if you can't trust us and don't like who we are as people, we shouldn't have your account. So,
yeah, and questions that, are like, what concerns you about your financial situation? That has nothing to do with how much money you have.
No.
It's, so I'm not asking how much money do you have or how many, what are your total assets or what's your net worth, but it's what is it about your situation that you're uncomfortable with? What about that situation keeps you up at night, that you're worried about, that you're anxious about?
Are you worried about retirement? Are you worried about a kid going to college? Are you worried about, whatever it may be, your spouse, and if they're taken care of, if something happens to you or whatever? What are your concerns? Because those are completely individual. Like, everybody has different concerns and different things. There's not a one size fits all. So it's important to know why they're concerned and what bothers them.
Right. And then also, what about the future? What about the future concerns you, or what about the goals that you may have?
Have you thought about the future at all?
Yeah.
Some of them are like,
right. Yeah.
you get 20-year-old kids and they're like,
yeah. Especially when you start asking, well, what do you think about retirement? And
they're like,
huh? Yeah. It's like, well, and we tell them, no, we don't expect you to know the answer right now.
Right.
But we ask the question just so you start thinking about it.
Right.
This may be the first time you've even had that question posed to you. So, let's start talking about it. Let's start thinking about it. Or maybe you do have some goals in the future that you're concerned with. And so what about those goals in the future? What about that situation has started to cause you to be concerned? So
my stomach's growling. You're gonna hear it. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I haven't eaten today. I just realized. Sorry. Yeah, and there's couples. Couples come in. They've been married 15, 20 years, whatever it is, and they've never had this conversation. They might have two completely different ideas of retirement. They could be, a lot of times opposites meet, they attract, and they marry each other. It's just how it works.
Right.
And they don't have these tough conversations until we give them a questionnaire, and they're like, we've never really talked about this. She's, the wife will be like, I was planning on retiring early and I want to travel. And the husband's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm going to work until they have to wheel me out of the office, and I don't really like to travel. You got to find that common ground and kind of bring them together. A lot of what we do is marriage counseling.
Yeah.
Or counseling in general.
Yeah.
We go through a lot of Kleenex.
Exactly. So,
retirement, is that something that people do? I feel like I'm just going to work until I'm dead. I feel like that's me.
I think that's what I'm going to do as well. I keep telling her, you're just going to have to, I'll be in my chair. You'll come in and I'll be dead, and you'll just have to roll me out.
And I'm the traveler. I'm like, that's fine. We can work from pretty much anywhere. We can bring a laptop. I'm
Right.
like, I'm good with that. So I'll travel around. You bring your laptop. I'll wheel you where you need to go, and you just keep working. And we're seeing the world, buddy.
There you go.
So
Yeah. And then also another question that advisor, I think it's a good question, at least, is, have you worked with an advisor before? What are your experiences with working with a financial advisor? What did you like most about working with that advisor? What did you not like about working with that advisor? And it's not, those kinds of questions are not meant to, stir up anything really. It's more about finding out what that experience was like. And if, let's just say that whatever you didn't like about working with that advisor is really more of a personality thing, or and maybe it's just a way that we service people. Maybe we service people in the same way.
maybe we can avoid something.
Yeah, well, maybe
do things differently. Maybe there's just a different way you like things done.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it's just because maybe we do things the same way. And it's just not a good fit. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's the same thing with us. And so we can say, hey, you know what, we actually do it this way too. It may not be a good fit because you didn't like that before. So why are we going to do the same thing?
And we actually have advisors for other companies that we trust that we'll send people to. If somebody's not a good fit, I'm not scared to say that. And that's okay. And we know somebody that will take great care of you and you'll be a good fit because first of all, we only have so many hours in the day. There's 2 of us. And we're not for everybody, and that's okay. And I think that's another mistake that advisors make sometimes is that they're so scared to let an account go.
Yeah.
That they just try to take whatever they can because, they're trying to get those accounts and those numbers that they end up with a bunch of bad fits.
Yeah, you have people that are, that are working with the large firms that it's not a good fit,
Right.
when they could be working with an independent, like us, and vice versa. There may be, reasons that someone would want to work with a larger firm over an independent. So, there's
Preferences.
It's for every situation is different. For every advisor is different, and so it's about finding the right fit.
And as far as we never answered this question about retirement, and I've heard you say this about a million times, but retirement has really changed. It wasn't until recently, over the last, how many years are you always saying?
I don't know, 50, 60 years.
That we really started looking at retirement differently. Now retirement's more of not necessarily stop working, but now it is not doing what you have to do, and now you're able to do what you want to do. So people, maybe a different industry or a different way, whether it's volunteering or maybe it is working for income, but it's what you want to do instead of what you're having to do.
I've had a lot of people talk about even like police officers and firefighters, they get to that age where they can start taking out their retirement, whatever those situations are. And now they can go, like, I know there's a police officer I know that really wants to do video, but he doesn't want to do video full time, because he doesn't want to lose out on what he's doing with, in that industry. So how, that's an opportunity for him when he reaches that age. Oh, now I can finally, because I can take out the retirement money that I'm getting back here, and now I'm not having to worry as much about the video stuff.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to like sit on the couch and eat potato chips and like just bed. Like that'd be cool for like maybe the first day, and I'd be over it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like,
Right.
I can't just sit like that. And for some people, that may be what retirement looks like for them. But for a lot of people, we're just so used to, I think, being on the go. But we're on the go doing the things we have to do versus the things we'd really want to do if money was no object. So.
Or for like my case, I really enjoy what I do. So it's kind of a mixture of both. This is my passion. This is what I want to do. And I get that. There are people out there that aren't that way.
Yeah. That's like him. He loves his job, and he literally will be working until I'm like wheeling him around. I have no doubt of this.
Just don't wheel me into a bus, in front of a bus.
Back to those life insurance policies.
Yeah.
We're going to get sued.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Things like, well, forget that.
Yeah, right.
We're not sponsoring them. We're just kidding.
But, I think bottom line is...
This bus crash is brought to you by Bang.
Wow. Okay. So, bottom line is don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yes.
Ask tough questions to a financial advisor.
They're afraid of those tough questions. They are not the advisor for you. Keep looking.
Yeah. There's no reason why a financial advisor should be offended, quote, hey, I don't have to say that I'm doing air quotes. They can see it now.
Well, you should say it in case they're listening.
Okay, well, in case they're listening, I am. If you're not watching us, then no. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, if you're asking tough questions and the financial advisor is getting bothered or upset that you're asking questions, my recommendation would be to move on to another advisor.
And we're not even saying us. Like, there's a million Believe me, there are a million advisors. Like, just Google. There's tons of them. Just start doing interviews and start, consultations. They shouldn't cost you anything just to go sit down with somebody. You usually know within about 10 minutes if it's a fit.
Yeah, and it's funny because whenever I was at the larger firms, okay,
I'm gonna get a drink.
Yeah, you get a drink,
okay.
and I'm gonna give
Okay.
this last example
your last.
before we wrap up. So, what they would tell us is that we need to, as financial advisors, position ourselves like if we are the person's doctor or physician. And do you ask, do you go to your doctor and you ask how they get paid and
Oh, really?
yeah,
I haven't heard this one yet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, do you ask your doctor how they get paid, and do you ask your doctor, every detail about the prescription that you're getting?
You should.
Well, you should, but
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
Another 2 hours.
But do you so if they start doing that to you, so let them ask them. Do you when you go to the doctor, do you ask your doctor all these questions, or do you rely on their expertise? because I am the expert in this area. And that never sat well with me.
No.
That never was something that I felt like was how I wanted to approach someone who was concerned about, their money. And so that's not anything that I would ever do. And I was never comfortable doing that. And yes, I spoke up and caused a lot of.
That's because you're a troublemaker.
Yes, I am.
It just goes back to treating them like they're a person.
Right.
At the end of the day, if
Exactly.
that was your parent, your mom, your dad, whatever, they went for help and that's how they were treated because they had concerns, would you be okay with that?
I wouldn't.
No, absolutely
I
not.
probably-
And if you would, you probably need a heart check, and that's a whole nother episode. And talk to Jesus.
I'd probably show up at the office.
Exactly. It's just not okay.
Yeah,
like,
right,
people
right.
are people, not
Right,
yeah.
so.
So
Alrighty, so
this has been very informative, and I'm sorry.
I think we went.
Probably went
didn't
really
we
long.
went. How long did we go on this?
No, probably about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
that's-
sorry.
So,
Hey, we had in our defense, we had a couple of people in the room, I'm not going to name names, that had not seen a really good movie with like two of the biggest movie stars of our generation, and we had to talk about that.
So if you're
I've seen that movie. It's just not the one that you said.
here for financial advice, and financial advice is why you're here, you can just turn it off now because it looks like we're just going down a rabbit hole.
No, okay. No, but if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, you want to know more about this or anything else or more about life insurance or whatever, reach out to us. You can.
Yeah, one good little piece of advice I can share on life insurance. Many people don't realize you can actually use a life insurance policy to help pay off taxes later on. If you're leaving money to somebody, a kiddo or whatever, and you're worried about them getting hit hard with taxes, there's actually a strategy with that. So just a little spigot of information.
That may be possible, yep.
Yeah, yes, maybe. I forget. There's all these wordings. I get in trouble with compliance. But yes.
That may be possible based on your situation.
Correct.
So, yeah.
He's a walking
Hey,
discllure.
I just want to
He
make
has
sure.
to be married
I
to me.
want to
He
make
has to,
sure.
like-
Hey, I want to make sure that we don't have to go back to Kurt with all these
And be like,
edits.
edit,
Yeah,
edit,
yeah.
edit.
You gotta take
I'm
this out.
sorry.
You gotta take that out, especially
It
with video. I'm
may
sure that's
be-
gonna make it even
I'm
more
sorry.
difficult.
It may
We'll be okay.
It may be a possibility, but it is something you could bring up with your financial advisor to see if it's fitting for your situation. Just little things like that average, everyday people that don't work in this industry don't realize.
Yeah. So, but yeah, or if you want to hear a certain topic from us, reach out to us. info@providentoak.com. Reach out to us on Facebook. There's
Instagram
how do you reach out on Instagram?
message.
You message.
Oh,
He doesn't
I don't have.
social media
I don't have
though.
social media. So,
Yep.
I rolled my eyes for the people.
Do it right in the camera.
hey, I have not had social media for like 7 years,
And I envy him.
and
I do.
it has been like the most enjoyable thing ever. Like not to deal with that is very freeing and relaxing, and yeah, it's
But at the same time, like he has to watch news like 24 hours a day for the industry. He needs to keep up with everything. I can't stand it. So it's good that he has that. I'm like, you just give me like a summary and I'll give you the social media summary and then we come together.
well, I'm filtering out the noise.
I appreciate that. So am I on my end. So.
But yeah, so I
Info
guess
at Provident
I guess
Oak.
you could send. Is it an Insta? Is that what it's called? No. Is it a gram?
Just a message.
Just a message. Okay.
Now they can see me. Dang it. I was thinking if I went away from the mic, they wouldn't see the face I just made, and I realized it's
gosh.
totally
That's
captured.
funny.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
All
Okay,
right.
so yes,
So
just message.
Facebook.
Just message me. It won't be him. Don't worry.
Reach him on his beeper, on the side of his.
Hey,
He's got his beeper and his movie phone.
Yes, I'm full circle.
Hey, you know
Again.
what? But you could text message on a beeper. If you did the numbers a certain way, it would spell out words.
So you're probably like, if you haven't turned us off, you're probably at work.
you probably have a bunch of people go, "What's a beeper?"
Google it. So we appreciate y'all tuning in. You can find us
Not turning us off.
Facebook, Instagram, all the social medias. ProvidentOak.com is our website. So
Or providentoakfinancial.com. Either
yeah,
one.
well, people like the shorter version. The people that don't have beepers like the shorter version.
Yeah, it's easier to go shorter on a beeper than it is a full text
We
message.
appreciate you guys tuning in, and y'all have a blessed day.
See ya.
Investment advisory services offered through One Ascent Financial Services, LLC, DBA Provident Oak Financial, a registered investment advisor with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply any certain degree of skill or training. Past performance may not be a representative of future results. All investments are subject to loss. Forecasts regarding the market or economy are subject to a wide range of possible outcomes. The views represented in this podcast may prove to be inaccurate for a variety of reasons. These views are as of the date of this podcast and are subject to change based on the changes in fundamental economic or market-related data.